Hey, Mortgage Coach community, Dave Savage here, and today I am interviewing Shane Kidwell. What's up, Shane?
What's going on, Dave? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. So first of all, thanks for reaching out to me in Facebook. It's first of all, I love seeing modern mortgage professionals using modern technology to connect. So Shane he's not new to Mortgage Coach, but he's a new friend of mine. He reached out to me a few days ago with a great question, and just saying, "Hey, Dave, I wanna lead with Mortgage Coach more." So Shane's created a lot of Mortgage Coach reports, hundreds of Mortgage Coach reports, on his way to being in the 1,000 Club. Shane, tell everybody about a little bit about yourself, what market you're in, a little bit about your mortgage practice, and then let's unpack some ideas for everybody.
I've actually done over 1,200 mortgage coaches. The number actually isn't totally accurate because sometimes I'll copy and duplicate a mortgage coach. So I'm probably over 1,500 when it comes to doing TCAs.
Wow.
I have been a full-time mortgage lender for just a little over a year. August was my 1 year full-time. I also manage a branch. Before that, I worked part-time for about 5 years while working full-time as a firefighter. And this year, my team will do about 40 million. My branch, we're on pace to do about 105 million as a branch.
Wow.
And we're in
So
Seattle, so we're in the Seattle market.
so let's connect the dots here. You've been part-time for 5 years. This is your first full-time year, and you're going to do 40 million in production, and you're a branch manager running a branch.
Yeah, I kind of make the joke. I started in 2009 is when I got my license. So perfect time to get in the business, right? Everybody was jumping out of buildings and bailing, and I was getting in. My first year, 2010, I did one deal, but I like to say that I doubled my production year over year. I did two my second year. So I was a full-time fireman, and I just was kind of goofing around, dabbling in the mortgage business, and kind of just started slow and then got connected with some cool people. And really, I would say right away, I got connected with Mortgage Coach. So I've been using Mortgage Coach since about 2011. So for quite a while.
So Mortgage Coach helped you learn the business at a strategic level. And by the way, do you watch any of our YouTube videos? Did you learn anything from just being part of the YouTube channel and that
Yeah.
community?
I mean, like, you know what they say, like the art of war is know your enemy better than yourself. Well, I feel like in our business, you've got to understand what other top producers, heavy hitters are doing because you learn something from somebody every day. At least I do. And so, using, the iPad integration, just different ways of making sure you're integrating with your partners. Every time I see somebody else doing something cool, I take away something from it.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your Mortgage Coach story. So you started in 2011. Uh, how much of your process is Mortgage Coach? What percentage of your families get a total cost analysis? Obviously, you've done over 1,000 TCAs, so it's a
Yep.
lot. Walk us
Yep.
through why
Yeah.
Mortgage Coach and how it helps you.
So for one, being a fireman, I mean, I would be working 24-hour shifts, and my clients didn't know that I was also running a mortgage business. I didn't want my competition to be able to throw that, in my face and say, well, this guy's not full time. So I didn't actually ever tell my clients that I was working part time. So I had to leverage technology to appear as though I was working full time. And I think, now it's 2017. Technology is where we are. It's not the future. It's today.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I mean, if you're not engaging in technology in the mortgage business, you're going to be out of the mortgage business. And I started using Mortgage Coach initially because, for one, I'd never done an Excel spreadsheet, as people were doing it back in the day. I got introduced to Mortgage Coach from an amazing guy locally here in the Pacific Northwest. And I saw it. It seemed like it was something I could replicate and duplicate. And for me, I feel like you make the least amount of errors and mistakes when you're doing the same thing over and over again. And that part of that's probably my fireman background. We just do the same thing over and over again to get really good at it and to make sure we don't make mistakes. And that's one of the complaints people have about lenders. They're not consistent. They're not accurate. It changes from day one to day 30. Their communication is poor. And so every client I've ever worked with, everybody who's ever gotten pre-approved with our team gets at least one Mortgage Coach. And over the last year, we do two Mortgage Coach on every transaction. So once at time of pre-approval and once when we're under contract and we need to have the discussion about when to lock or float the interest rate.
Love it. I mean, what an awesome story. By the way, who was that was your mentor that hooked you up with the Mortgage Coach?
Yeah, a really good guy, Jason Nutzman, who I think you've featured, and he's
Yeah.
a power user. Yeah,
Yeah.
great
No, I
guy.
Oh yeah, I have interviewed Jason, tremendous mortgage coach mentor, and loved the fact that he's playing it forward. You know,
Yeah.
got you into the mortgage coach habit. So that's fantastic. So let's walk through your process. You know, you mentioned you provide it to people when they're shopping, purchase
Yep.
options. I want to hear you describe that. I want to get a script out of you. Like, what do you say to the family so that when they get that link, they're like, oh, I need to have that on my mobile phone
Yeah.
and and then let's talk about the next process, and we'll just go from there.
Yeah, so we do what's called an intake call with every new lead, and I have a 15 to 30-minute discussion with every consumer before we'll ever quote a rate. And we do that to make sure that we're not only quoting competently and honestly, but so we actually know if they're a good fit for working with us. I've been working with a brokerage called Redfin for a number of years. I kind of got in early with Redfin as one of their preferred lenders, and we're dealing with very, very price sensitive tech savvy borrowers. And if I sent out an Excel or a one page quote, they would take that quote and compare it with 500 lenders. And regardless of whether or not they were accurate, I wouldn't be the cheapest on paper and I really couldn't put value forward. And so I learned very quickly that I had to differentiate. If I tried to be like my competition, I'd lose. I got to be different than my competition. And so every time we do that intake call, we would, after we got off the phone, I would have a follow-up script I'd send them. And part of that intake call was explaining to them, listen, like, I'm a fireman, I'm a man of my word. I don't quote anything without making sure it's accurate. And so we use the custom templates in Mortgage Coach to pretty quickly put together some, and this is the thing, a lot of people think that it's this very elaborate system that's super hard to do. It takes a long time. It's far easier to put together in Excel, and it's just quite frankly not true. There's a lot of bells and whistles you can use with it, but you can also put together some pretty quick presentations that to the consumer looks like I've spent hours putting together. And quite honestly, I mean, we've gotten so fast as a team, we have to wait to send that, total cost analysis, because otherwise people would see how quickly it was to put together.
Love
So
it.
we do our intake call, we capture that information. We want to find out, are they looking for different products or different rates with the same product? And we'll either do one presentation or two, depending on that. And then instead of putting the property address at the top, we'll typically name the presentation so we can kind of keep it for us, keep organized. And then we send those out, and we have an email template that we put together with a script. It goes through kind of the FAQs, frequently asked questions. I use video sharing technology to walk them through a generic tutorial. And so about half the time we'll do a custom video. About half the time I'll send the link to the total cost analysis. I may or may not attach a PDF copy depending on the age of the consumer. And then in my email script, we have a generic video tutorial that kind of walks the average consumer through the Mortgage Coach.
I mean, incredible. And I love the way you're tailoring it. You're again, a modern mortgage experience is whatever is right for that family. And
Yeah.
for a lot of folks, that's a pure mobile experience. For a lot of folks, PDF matters. Some people still want to come to the office and get the printout.
Yep.
It sounds like you're doing a great job of really tailoring for your borrower. Um, how long does it take you? You mentioned you can do it pretty fast. Like, what is the typical time to create a total cost analysis report?
I mean, again, I've done 1,500 of them, and part of that has been a lot of trial and error. I'm down to about 5 minutes or less. Quite honestly, we're waiting on the pricing engine to update our rates, and while that's going on one screen, I'm putting together the presentation in another screen. So it's about 5 minutes, and then with my email scripts that we use, my team now sends them out for me. So I have loan partners that help me on my loans, and I communicate to the consumer up front that my team and I will be sending out a custom comparison. We call it custom e-comparison of different options. And so then they'll put together the Mortgage Coach now. And so we spend time each week kind of training on that.
Love that. So let's try to get a script out of you. When you start having that mortgage, call it the total cost analysis conversation with the borrower, so that when they get it, they're like, clicking on it. I want that thing.
Yep.
What does that sound like? Just give us a minute of scripting.
Yeah, so I mean, with our typical, tech savvy, price sensitive consumer, they start asking the typical questions: what's your fees, what's your rates, and they kind of start going down that path. And I'll say, time out. Listen, first off, I built my business on never being inaccurate in what I'm doing. So to do that, I need to get some of your information and spend some time with you to get to know you and find out if it's a good fit. If it is, I'd love to build a custom e-comparison for you, showing you that total cost analysis of options. We like to give you several options because at the end of the day, what fits for client A might not fit for you. And we want to build something that works for you. And then I mentioned too, I say, listen, a lot of times people want to ask me to diagnose their situation and give them rates and fees, but we don't even have time to get to know that person. It's kind of like asking my mechanic to give me a quote without lifting the hood of the car. We've just built our practice on not ever quoting inaccurately. And so if it's okay with you, we'd like to get that information and send you a custom comparison so you can see rates built for you, not the average consumer.
I can tell you've said that a few times. And for anyone that's listening to this and you're not consistently giving a total cost analysis, you're missing the opportunity to be great. You're missing the opportunity to have truly a perfect loan process. Because first of all, if it doesn't have a total cost analysis, it may be good, but it's not perfect. And the other part I hope everybody gets is that Mortgage Coach, it's not just a competitive advantage. It's like if you're not delivering it, you're behind.
Yeah.
It's not coming. It's not a wow. It's here, and you're really starting to play catch up. So let's do another script. You said you provide another total cost analysis. What does that sound like, and how do you drive that second TCA conversation?
Yeah, so that's once we're under contract. And so once we get under contract, now what we do is we go in and we make sure that our LOS system that we use is Encompass. So we want to make sure that our Encompass file matches our Mortgage Coach for two reasons. One, the worst thing you can do is give somebody a presentation and have the number on that presentation be different than what they're going to get on their LE or their CD. So we always want to make sure they match. And so we tell that as a part of our scripting, you're going to be getting an updated one that's going to match your CD or your LE. Keep in mind, this is a estimate based on the quote we got from escrow, title, all of our third parties. And then we're going to tell them, listen, now that we're under contract, our price is set. And typically at that point, the product's been set. Now we want to show them several options for rate. Great thing for me is in my position, I don't get paid any differently regardless of the product or the rate they choose. We want to make sure the client understands that because we want to show them that it's not about what we want, it's what fits for you. And then we talk about, kind of the average lifespan of a loan. Educating them on how long an average typical consumer actually keeps their mortgage and showing them points versus no points.
Love it. So, I mean, it's a complete wow. You wowed them at the front end, you wowed them into escrow. I would imagine you get a lot of referrals. By the way, Kelly Zitlow has a similar process to you. I'm going to put a link below to one of Kelly Zitlow's most recent interviews because she does that too. She provides it up front, she updates it, and then she even updates it at closing to start driving that client for life.
Yeah.
Get a manager mortgage and help make you sure you got the best mortgage all the time. Do you do anything to intentionally get the family to download the app so that they're getting it in a mobile environment? Is there anything intentional within your systems, processes, or scripting?
Yeah, so we do a couple things. One, like on my initial intake call, one of my first questions is, listen, how do you want to be communicated with? Are you mobile heavy or are you computer heavy? And we want to find out. And then if they're mobile heavy, we're going to send them our mobile app. And then we're going to use the total cost analysis through the app. And typically most people are iPhone or Android. And we'll send them the link to that so that they have that and they're ready to go when we send our first presentation. The other thing we do too is again, some people really like that. Some people really don't like that. And instead of only going down one path and forcing everybody into that path, we found that some people, when they're on their phone, they don't want to download the app. They just want to see a quick snapshot while they're in transit. And so we also screenshot that summary section and we send that as included in the email to the consumer. So we give them a link to the TCA. We, in our little FAQ section on the script, we also explain how they can get the mobile app, and then we'll send them a screenshot of the borrower summary section.
Love it. So again, you're doing, how do you want to be communicated with? And now I'm communicating you in, links, mobile, screenshots. I mean, you are epitomizing, a modern way to communicate with families. So I like to keep these as close to 15 minutes as possible, but this is awesome. So let's also talk about how do you integrate it into your realtor partner conversation? Do they understand that the way you quote rates and pre-quals is different? And, give us a high level on that process and what that sounds like.
Yeah, so our real estate agent and our referral partners understand that every communication we do with our consumer, we're going to be CCing them on. And we get the consumers buying up front on that because we want it to be a collaboration. Again, what we really want to focus on is, hey, it's not It's not a couple people that are going to be fighting against each other. We're a team. And so everything we do is a team. So we want to include the agent on that. And so when I meet with an agent for the first time, one of the pieces of technology that I'm kind of, client forward with is the mortgage coach. And so we have an iPad that we'll bring when we're meeting with our agents. We go through that with them. And then we'll build out, we have a couple kind of sample or example TCAs that we do for our partners, because you don't have to necessarily do it for a client. You can do it for a partner. You can do it as a marketing TCA instead of to a consumer. And we'll do those with, rent versus own, things like that, to kind of show that agent that we're trying to add value in a different way.
I love it. So part of your realtor conversation is iPad is how you're doing it.
Yep.
And you're using it to illustrate strategies that help them sell more homes and get better conversion rates. And I assume, knowing that you're, Redfin and just the way you roll, it's all about, hey, this is how I'm going to better educate your family so that they make more confident decisions faster. And this is how you're going to sell more homes. And then you're using it as a prop and a tool to illustrate that. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I like to focus on too is, listen, we don't use technology to remove ourselves from the process. We use technology to enhance the process and get the customer an answer sooner and educate them fully. And so I think that's the way we're really trying to. A lot of people are scared about technology, like they're going to lose their job. We like to think that it's going to enhance our job and make the process better for the consumer and our partners.
Yeah, no, I talk about all the time how the loan officer, not of the future, but the loan officer today needs to leverage automation to be more human,
Yeah.
because whatever can be automated is going to be automated, but you can't automate the human touch. So it's great to see that you're using video. By the way, what app? It sounds like you're driving the Mortgage Coach app, and is it the Fairway app because you're at Fairway?
Yeah, we have our company mobile app, and then we've got some, like, my website is mobile friendly. So we're doing a lot of things to try to make sure, again, if the consumer is mobile friendly, if they're computer friendly, we try to just kind of meet everybody where they're at with the technology.
Yeah, well, the Simple Nexus is the platform that you guys use, and it's awesome. So
Yeah.
I hope everybody's takeaway here is clear. He's got a mobile strategy. He's asking clients questions. When he delivers the tech within his experience, it's tailored based off of, are they mobile? Are they desktop? Do you prefer paper? You're asking these questions, and then you're giving the customer what they want. So first of all, if you've got a takeaway from today's conversation like this, like it, just let us know you watched it, and then share it with your friends. Shane, I know when you reached out to me, you have a lot of passion towards not only continuing your own success as an operator, but also mentoring other mortgage coach professionals. You were talking about, hey, I'm going to do some mortgage coach mentoring. And I know you're also building a coaching practice. How can people get in touch with you if they want to learn about what it is that you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, Dave, is I've worked at companies where I felt like the top producers were hiding their ideas in a closet. And you're always kind of looking like, what are these guys and gals doing that's making them so great? Nobody was willing to share. We just believe of a mindset of generosity. And so one of the things I love is the mortgage process is just a way for me to get to people. It's just a byproduct of awesome interactions. And so we've got a coaching platform with a guy, Ryan Stuman, that you and a lot of people know and have heard of. He's got an amazing social media platform. So we're doing that, and we're just looking to kind of partner with like-minded individuals who are embracing technology. And I mean, that's the biggest takeaway from all of this for me, and using Mortgage Coach and using it now for over 6 years. You've got to embrace technology because it's here. And if you don't, you're going to be left behind. And so we're really focused our energies on building locally and building nationally through our coaching platform for just like-minded people.
Good. Well, connect with you on Facebook, LinkedIn. Love what you're doing, my man. Let's keep in touch. Keep bringing success stories here. Hopefully, you'll participate in our Friday mastermind. Every Friday at 9 o'clock, we are focused on how to make more money in less time as a mortgage coach community. So I hope I see you on that call from time to time. And I just look forward to see where it goes in your future, man. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Dave. I appreciate it, man. Talk to you
All right.
soon.
All right, take care.